And welcome back to Newsmax Now. I'm Miranda Kahn. Time now to look over your money news. And if you're like most Americans, you probably just finished working on and sadly probably paying your taxes. But now a new report shows that more than a dozen Fortune 500 companies didn't pay anything at all. The list includes General Electric, JetBlue Airways, and Time Warner. In total, the 15 companies paid nothing after posting roughly $23 billion in profit last year. And you just saw that story on our Newsmax.com website. Also making headlines, the Labor Department says the number of unemployed Americans is up for the second week in a row. According to the latest numbers released today, 12,000 people applied for benefits this week. A federal bankruptcy judge says General Motors will not have to face dozens of lawsuits after failing to tell consumers about problems with ignition switches. Those defects led to millions of recalls and caused several injuries, even resulted in a death. Netflix adds nearly 5 million subscribers to its streaming services. That brings the total number of paid subscribers to more than 62 million. Shares for the company are up more than $60 today. That's a positive change of more than 14%, John. And
Miranda, another company we expect to have a big day on Wall Street today is Etsy. It's one of the most popular e-commerce do-it-yourself sites in the world. But is Etsy telling us something else about the economy right now? Here to talk to us a little bit about this is Jeff Yasteen, editorial director of Newsmax's financial newsletter. Jeff, are we looking at another tech bubble here?
I believe that we are, and I don't mean to say that it's going to pop in the most immediate sense, but certainly I don't think anybody would argue that valuations for most tech companies, and especially for those that are going public here today, like we see with Etsy, are highly, highly stretched. I mean, I don't think there's any argument about that. In the case of Etsy, this is a company, and I'm not knocking the marketplace at all. It's a great marketplace and provides a great spot for people who are making crafts to be able to sell them and earn something out of it. But as far as buying the stock of Etsy, you're talking about a company that has about $120 million in revenue in 2014 and had about a $15 million loss. So unless you know what kind of profits they're making, how can you really tell what the value is behind the stock? That's the problem with buying a lot of new IPOs in which the company's still sort of getting things settled down a bit on the financial side.
Are there any distinct differences, let's say if we are in a tech bubble here, that you see between now and say 1999?
In some ways, it's not the same as bad now on the tech side. In 1999, I mean, the valuations were sky high, and there were a great many companies on the NASDAQ that had zero profits. As we're now, I think the PE for the NASDAQ, the price earnings ratio, is around 30, 35, 40, something like that. So it's stretched, but it's not in the world of just an absolute dream. The problem in many ways isn't so much in tech is not so much the NASDAQ, it's actually in the private companies. Do you guys know what a unicorn is?
Well, other than My Little Pony, I don't know, Jeff. Let's talk about unicorns some other day because we got to run. Jeff, great to talk to you, and Jeff will be back with us here on a regular basis. Thanks, Jeff.